Have you ever had that thought in the back of your head that's nagging you and telling you, maybe I could make a lot more money if I understood pricing? Well, you're right. You could be making a lot more money. Hi, my name is Will, and I help top performing business owners make even more money and succeed with their business. And in this video, I will be sharing with you some critical pricing knowledge that everyone needs to know. And this will be like a $2,000 training program. So although I'm giving it away to you for free, please respect this as if you had paid for it, because this information may help you make 5 times or 10 times or 20 times more money. So let's get started. Pricing is huge, and it pains me to know that there's a lot of businesses online, whether they're selling coaching or a product, an ebook, an online course, whatever it is, and they just pull out some random number in their head, whether it's $4.95 or $5 or $50 or $9.87, and they just throw it onto this course and hope for the best. There's a whole world to understanding the deeper knowledge of pricing and how a actual company should function in terms of developing that relationship with the customer that will translate to a lot more profits for you. So let's get started with the first tip. First off, should you use $47 or $49 or $50? There's that whole debate, and I know you know about it, where you're wondering if the price that you price a product at should end in a 7, a 9, or a 0, or a 5, or maybe should you put 99 cents on it? You know how you go to the stores and you see things that are $1.99 rather than $2. Well, to be quite frank, there's been a lot of studies done on this, and as a general rule of thumb, you should be pricing your product ending in a 7 or a 9, not just a flat 5-0. There's a lot of psychology behind this, and buyers tend to buy more when they see it lower than it actually is, whether it's $49.99 or $49 as opposed to $50. So that's something that you should always be doing. Unfortunately, a lot of people make this mistake, especially beginners, and it is so foolish. They think that they can compete with companies who have spent tens of millions of dollars testing pricing. They think that they can be original or innovative by testing out a completely different price, like $63. And guess what? They remain and stay in the novice zone because they end up losing out on a lot of profits because they think they're innovative, when in reality, they're just a novice beginner who's playing pretend at business. You see, when there are companies out there who have taken their own money and tested using millions of their own dollars, then you can probably guess that they know much more about pricing than you do, and you should probably listen to their strategies. So in terms of simple things like this, you don't want to try something innovative. It's not about original or not. It's about the fact that they have had a lot more money to test things on. So as far as whether you should choose the 7 or the 9 or add 99 cents at the end, if you're selling a digital product online, generally speaking, as long as it's a 7 or 9, it doesn't really matter. The marginal difference between the two is still debatable to this day, so I would choose either one for now. Let's go on to a higher impact piece of advice. That was already really critical, but this one is even more crazy. So what this piece of advice is, and I hope you've gotten a pen and paper if you like taking notes. Otherwise, if you just like listening to me talk, that's fine too, but make sure you pay attention to this. Question for you. Would you rather have 10 people who have bought a $50 product from you, or okay, a $49 product, just to, stick with my first advice? Would you rather have 10 people pay for a $49 product, or one person pay for a $1,000 product? Now, I'll give you some time to think about that. Well, here's the answer, and it may shock you. It's actually better to have more customers, even if the total amount that you've made is less. Now, why is that the case? Well, it's because converting a non-customer to a customer is oftentimes the hardest part of getting customers and making money. And because of that, you have much more opportunity when you have converted someone into a customer to make a lot more money with each of them in the future. Believe it or not, a buyer's list of customers is 25 times and sometimes up to 50 or 100 times more valuable than a list of email subscribers who like your stuff but haven't bought from you yet. So what does this exactly mean? This means that there's a ton of people who run online businesses who do not understand how important this is, and they are trying to sell to a cold market a high-end or expensive product. Now, what this basically means is that they are missing out on all those people who they didn't capture from the initial sale. Guess what? You generally have a very small percentage of people who will purchase your high premium priced product. So what are you doing with the rest of those people? The rest of the 80 or 90% of individuals you didn't get to buy? Hopefully you're at least still cultivating that relationship and so forth. But not understanding how customers and pricing works means that you may always have a hard time with converting people. Sometimes it is much, much better to have a lower tier priced product first so you can warm people up. Once they buy once, almost everything changes. Once you get that initial sale from that person, they've already overcame numerous psychological obstacles. They have begun to trust you. All these things that have now made it much easier for them to buy a second, a third, a fourth, or a fifth time. So, what does that basically mean? Consider a low tier price product. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not even understand this, and they go straight for the kill with a premium product. And they never have a low tier product. Finally, I want to get to the third tip I'm going to tell you. The third tip is that understanding pricing is critical when you're talking about a digital service. And this same thing applies to coaching. You see, when you're selling something like an ebook or an online course or a form of coaching or freelancing, there is a certain level of perceived value there. Now, this concept is specific to the fields I just mentioned, because in other industries like physical products, you don't really have this because people know the price of commodities and you can kind of compete based off prices of raw materials. Online, you have this weird tendency, but very true, and this is really critical. Understanding this will put you many magnitudes above your competition. Online, you have this strange tendency for customers to assume that your product is bad just because you're pricing it so low. Now, this is a very strange phenomenon, but it is so true. Now, for whatever reason, you can pour your heart and soul into a product, But when you price it too low, people assume that it's really bad sometimes. Now, how low it can go oftentimes depends on the niche and industry that you're teaching or helping. However, this is a phenomenon that you have to keep in mind. Sometimes, and I've seen this time and time again from people who charged for graphic designing to people who drew caricatures for a living to people who sold digital online courses and e-products. Pricing too low can be completely changed by testing much higher pricing. And through that, people will stop with this whole idea of, I think this product may not be that good because it's priced so low. This is something that you have to keep in mind because it is there and it's rather unfortunate, especially if you poured your heart and soul into this technique. Especially if you poured your heart and soul into this program. So, having said that, one important note that I think I have to emphasize is that this does not mean that you should scam people or play some one-off game where you are pricing a product at a very high price when the value is not there. If you do that, oftentimes it will bite you in the butt in the long run. Your reputation and everything will be destroyed. So if you are an internet scammer or you're trying to make a quick buck or just get rich quick, this is not the video for you, and this is probably not going to serve you well. So those are my 3 tips. If you want to explore this further, if you want to learn much more about pricing, I have a program that will teach you much more about pricing, and you can check it out. There's a button below. Now, keep this all in mind. Pricing is very, very critical to a business, and understanding the fact that you want to lead a customer from an initial low-tier priced product through to higher priced premium products later down the line can save you a tremendous amount of money. And not just save you money, but make you a lot more money. This sort of knowledge keeps you way ahead of your competition. If you want to learn a lot more, and by learning a lot more, you will benefit and possibly make a lot more money. I'm talking 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, or 10 times your money. I highly suggest that you check out my pricing product program. In it, you will learn things like the value funnel, and you will understand specific elements of pricing. A lot of people just choose a random price. Should you price a course at $497 or $297? Or should I price it at $1,300? It's ridiculous how many people just choose any random price and throw it on there, and it's very clear that they've done so. Understanding where you should put your pricing and how you should position yourself and sell that pricing can increase your profits tremendously. So I go into depth about how you should price this. So I go into depth about how you should price specific things, as well as how you should present the pricing to make the most money. In fact, I have seen a lot of sales pages where people don't know what they're doing, and if they just did a few tweaks, they could be making a lot more money. I go into depth about how you should properly present monthly payment plans, how you should set it up. A lot of people, they just pull out random monthly payment plans out of their butts. Some people don't even realize the value of payment plans. Why have a payment plan? What should you structure it? And all these things are costing them a lot of potential profits. They don't know whether to choose 4 installments or 10 installments Or what? They just choose a random number and it's clear as day that they have just guessed. So again, all these things and more will be covered in this program. If you're interested, click the button below and act now because this offer will not be available forever.